skate pals! I'm Elizabeth from Geek Girl Skates, and in this video I'm bringing you another roller skate review. And I decided I really wanted to try out these Chaya Kismet skates. They're marketed as an aggressive quad skate that's great for beginners. They come with grind blocks, all in an affordable package, and I really wanted to see what these grind blocks were actually like. If this sounds like the video for you, go ahead and hit that subscribe button to stay up to date with my future skate videos. I've also put a link in the description below for my Redbubble store where I've got really cool Geek Girl Skate merchandise. Your purchases will go a long way to help support this channel. So if you haven't seen any of my other skate reviews, you should know that I describe myself as a pretty confident skater. I grew up roller skating, rollerblading, and ice skating, and I've played roller derby for the last 7 years, and I've done ramp skating for the last 4 years. I've really enjoyed coaching in roller derby and teaching new people how to skate for the first time. I think my experience has given me a lot of insight into the issues and challenges that new skaters will face when they're learning how to roller skate. Okay, so enough about me. Let's take a look at the Chaya Kismet. The Kismet comes as a complete package, which means that it's got the boot, the plate, the wheels, the toe stop, and the grind block already attached. If you're considering this skate, you're probably interested in park skating because it does come with the grind block. Chaya is the only manufacturer that I know of at the moment that's actually selling a complete setup. With most other skates, you are going to have to buy a grind block separately. So the boot is described as being mid-cut, and that means that it's a little bit shorter than a skate like the Moxie Lolly, but it's a little bit taller than the skates that you might see roller derby skaters wearing, and those are very low cut. The Kismet is actually about the same height as the Bond Park Star. So the boot is made from a textile. It's this pink fabric. They describe it as being denim. And there is this white leather strip that goes all the way around the boot, and this is an area that's probably going to take the most amount of damage from skating in. The boot doesn't have much of a heel, it's pretty flat on the inside. Chaya does include these insoles, and you get 2 of them. They're 9mm or 3/8 inch thick, but they don't really provide much of a lift. So overall the skate is very flat. Even though the boot is mostly made from textile, the outside is fairly rigid and there's quite a lot of cushioning on the inside. The skates come with Chaya's Shari plate, and these are made from glass fiber reinforced plastic. The kingpins are set at a 20-degree angle, and the cushions are a combination of conical and cylindrical cushions with a diameter of 92A. The Kismet comes with Chaya's Sugar Rush wheels, and these measure at 58mm in diameter, 38mm wide, and have a diameter of 92A. They come pre-fitted with WCD Wicked ABEX 7 bearings. The toe stops on these are Chaya's controller toe stop. They're a nice and wide toe stop with a flat surface. They have a short stem, and they're held in place by a locking toe stop bolt. So one of the benefits of the Chaya Kismet as a package is that it comes with grind blocks already installed. Now these are really different compared to other grind blocks that I've used. I started out on the CIB sliders, and for the last few years I've been using disco blocks. So what makes these different is the actual shape of them. The contact patch that will actually be touching the coping when you're dropping in or doing grinds is much smaller. It's much thinner than what you get on the disco block. I think that what this will give you is greater flexibility when it comes to stalling and grinding on the coping. I was also really surprised to find a bag of tools that came with my Chaya Kismets. There's 4 different tools. You've got this T-tool, and this is an Allen key that's used for taking off the grind blocks from your skates. The end of the T-tool can also be used for taking bearings out of your wheels. You've also got a larger Allen key, and this is used for loosening and tightening the bolt on your plate that holds the toe stop in place. And you've got this socketed wrench, which is for tightening and loosening the nuts on your wheels. And the last tool is this tiny wrench, which I can only assume is actually meant for your kingpin nut, but unfortunately, because of the placement of the grind block, you can't actually get this wrench in there to loosen and tighten that nut. I don't know why they didn't include another one of the socketed wrenches, because this would have made so much more sense. This is useless. You can't actually use this on the Chaya Kismet. I don't know why they've included this. They should have done a bigger one of these. Chaya describes the Kismet as being a good skate for jam, dance, and skate park skating. They also suggest that it's great for beginners, advanced, and pro-level skaters. Now that we've talked about the features, I want to talk about what it was actually like to skate in the Chaya Kismet. But first, as a bit of a word of caution, I almost always fit a UK 6, US 8, or EU 39, and I ordered this size first, but they were definitely too small. Later, I did realize that a couple of websites do say that these skates run a bit small, but once I got the right size, they actually fit pretty well and were really comfortable. I really wanted to test these skates as they were straight out of the box after doing some, basic safety checks just to make sure that they were safe to skate on. I thought this was going to be the fairest way to test these skates out because they are marketed as being a budget-friendly skate and good for beginners, and because I wouldn't expect a beginner to have to go out and spend a lot of money on making upgrades and to change things around straight away. So the first time that I skated on the Chaya Kismet, I actually really hated it. I spent like an hour on these skates and I was terrified to drop in because the ground blocks were really different from my disco blocks, so I was kind of expecting that to feel really different. But I think the worst bit about it was the wheels. They're rated as a 92A, but they actually felt like skating on something more in the 80s range. I don't think they're actually as hard as they claim to be. Everything just took so much more effort. And I was skating on wooden ramps, and usually I have no problem getting speed on these features. So yeah, I really was not rushing out to try these skates again. I'm really sorry to say. I gave it some time and I was like, okay, well, we gotta do this. We gotta do this review. We've got the skates, we're gonna have to do it. So I said, okay, well, we'll do 2 more hours at the same skate park, so on wooden ramps, and we'll start out, we'll build our confidence up slowly, dropping in, and we'll just kind of get used to it. We'll just give it a good try. Yeah. And I was dropping in on the highest transitions that I would normally drop in on, but I could not feel the same confidence that I got from my other skates. And I wasn't even going to try and grind on these skates because I just felt like I wasn't stable enough. And I really do think that it's partly down to stability. I kept feeling like there's this weird squirreliness in my wheels. I kept checking my wheel nuts and they were fine. I kept checking the kingpins and they were tightened as far as they could go. Like, they could not get any tighter because I was looking for that stability. So I really wanted to do this review based on what the skates are like out of the box. Like, this is the only fair way to do it. But I couldn't actually bring myself to wear these skates with those wheels again. So I figured, people change their wheels, like, that's not that uncommon. So I did swap out my wheels. I put my CIB park wheels in. They're a 98A durometer, which isn't that much more than Chaya's 92A, but they made all the difference. I also changed the bushings. I swapped the conical ones out for some cylindrical ones just for a little bit of extra stability because I really felt like I needed it with these skates. So the skate experience once I actually swapped out the wheels was so much better, and I felt like I could actually evaluate the boot and the grind block a lot better than I was able to when I had the softer wheels in. Weirdly, I kind of did feel like the plastic that the grind block is made from flexed a little bit when I stalled on it. And I think for a more advanced skater, this might actually be a bit fun when you do tricks, but I think it might be a little bit unnerving, especially for beginner skaters who are just learning how to drop in and stall. So the other issue that I had with these skates was the toe stop. And yes, toe stops are totally down to personal preference and the type of toe stop you use and the length of your toe stop that you like it at. Okay, yeah, down to personal preference. But the Chaya Kismet comes with a short stem toe stop. Okay, so there is only so far that it will come out of the skate. And when I tried to make it a little bit longer, it actually wouldn't stay in place. Like, it was really weird. The locking bolt in the plate actually wouldn't hold the toe stop in place at all if I had the toe stop extended. Like, I've never had this happen to me before on a pair of skates like this. The only thing that I could actually do to make the toe stop stop falling out was to screw them in all the way. And yes, I do use my toe stops, and that was way too far in, and it just made me feel like I wasn't a very confident skater because, one, I'd either, be trying to use my toe stops, which were way too short, or two, I was just really worried that they were gonna fall out on me because that's not safe. So as cute as these toe stops are, I think I would actually swap them out for a long stem toe stop. I do not want my toe stops falling out on me. Go ahead and let me know in the comments if you happen to skate on the Chaya Kismet and whether this is an issue that you've had. And can you also let me know if you've solved this problem by swapping out your toe stop to a long stem one. Now that we've looked at the features of the Chaya Kismet and what my experience was actually skating in them, I'm going to rank these skates based on their looks and aesthetics, the comfort of them, what they're like to skate in, and their maneuverability. We'll also look at the upgradability and their price point. The Chaya Kismet is currently only available in pink, although they were available in a denim blue for a while, and Chaya has been hinting at a new color that's going to be released soon if it hasn't already by the time this video is available. If you like pink, then great, but if not, then you might want to look elsewhere. I like pink, I just don't particularly like this color of pink. I think it's too light and I think it's going to get dirty really easily and it's just going to look really worn and used pretty quickly. Overall, I'm going to give the Chaya Kismet a ranking of 2 out of 5 skates, and this is mainly down to the fact that it's only available in pink, which I don't think is actually going to appeal to most people, and because I think that the shoe design is a little bit clunky. So despite the skate's looks, it's actually pretty comfortable to skate in. I was actually really surprised. My foot was nice and comfortable once I got the right size. There's a lot of padding on the inside. The exterior is pretty rigid, which I was surprised about considering it's a textile boot, but even my ankle with metalwork in it was really comfortable. I didn't have any major aches or soreness in my feet after skating in these for a few hours. So I'm happy to give this skate a 5 out of 5 skates in terms of its comfortableness. As a skate, the Chaya Kismet is actually really nice to roll in. This does have a really nice quality plate on it. The reinforced plastic is going to be more lightweight compared to a metal plate, and you know, obviously I can't compare the strength of a metal plate to this one, which would be really cool to do, by the way. But I'm hoping that because this skate is actually marketed towards park skating and aggressive styles of skating, that this plate can actually withstand that type of activity. If you skate on the Shari plate or even the Chaya Kismet and you want to put your experiences down in the comments, please do share, because I'm sure lots of people would like to know what the longevity of this type of plate is for park skating. The 20-degree kingpin on the plate gives you loads of maneuverability, and it has a really good responsive action that I would expect to see on a quality type of plate. I'm going to give the Chaya Kismet a 4 out of 5 skates in terms of skating experience and maneuverability, and this is mainly down to the fact that you are getting a nice boot and a nice plate, but other aspects of the skate like the wheels and the toe stops can be replaced to suit your style. And because the Chaya Kismet comes with a decent plate, it means you can easily swap out your wheels for something else without worrying about wheel bite or, you know, them just falling off because the axles aren't long enough. You can also swap out the cushions, although, you know, I think they were pretty good, but I prefer conical cushions. And the toe stops, you know, I think I would just go ahead and upgrade that to something with a long stem, unless you don't use your toe stops at all, or you're not worried about them being really high up, which I think for most of us, that's not really the case. And you know, if you didn't like the grind block that came with these skates, you can take them off and replace them with something else. There's actually nothing stopping you from doing that. It's really easy to take the grind block off itself, but you do have to take the plate off to get this bracket out that sits just underneath the plate. And because this is a bit of a pain to do, I'm going to give the Chaya Kismet a 4 out of 5 skates in terms of the potential for upgrades. The Kismet retails in the UK for about £200, but in the US you're looking at between $250 and $270. I mean, prices seem to be a bit all over the place at the moment, but what you're getting is a complete skate setup with the grind blocks and a tool set that provides most of what you'll need, except for this wrench. And I think that's really good value for money. Considering in the UK, you're looking at spending around £100 for a beginner pair of skates. A £200 price point is actually pretty good considering what you're getting here. And I think this probably means that you're going to be a little bit more committed to skating at this point. And I would really hope that you would notice a difference between skating in a beginner pair of skates and skating in these skates. But be aware that, you probably want to change your toe stop sooner rather than later, and possibly your wheels. So I'm going to give the Chaya Kismet a 5 out of 5 in terms of the price point. Overall, this gives us an average of 4 out of 5 skates, and I think this accurately reflects the Chaya Kismet. And now I just want to leave you with a few final thoughts about the Chaya Kismet skates. These skates are marketed and recommended as a good beginner skate park setup. I think this is in part because of the price point, but also for what you're getting as part of the package. Chaya are currently the only manufacturer that's offering a complete skate park setup. But, I'm not entirely convinced they're actually good for beginners. Yes, you are getting a decent plate and a decent boot with these skates, but I think that as you gain experience and you get more comfortable rolling down ramps and pumping the transition, you might start to feel like you're not going fast enough. And one thing you can do is to change out the wheels. You're going to want something harder or maybe even something larger. So I guess be prepared for that. And I would actually be interested in trying out Chaya's Firebolt wheels, and they're rated at 100A. I'm also not really convinced that this grind block that comes with the Chaya Kismet is really good for beginners, especially if you're the cautious type of skater. I think that if this is the type of skater that you are, then you're probably better off with a grind block that gives you more stability, especially while you're just learning how to drop in and stall on the coping, and maybe even explore some easy grinds. So the bottom line is, if you're just looking for a good, affordable skate to get started on now, and you don't mind making a few upgrades later on, then yeah, the Chaya Kismet is a really good skate to start out on. Hey, thanks for sticking out to the end. If you like this review, go ahead and give me a thumbs up, and be sure to smash that subscribe button if you haven't already. Let me know in the comments if there's a skate you would like me to review, and be sure to check out my Redbubble shop. That's all for now, and keep roller skating!